Welcome back to Becoming a Published Author is Fun. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, check out episode 8. We are now in episode 48. Think of that. Well, in a couple more, and I'll be at episode 50. It's been really fun doing this, and I've been doing it 5 days a week. And I still love doing it. It's exciting and enjoyable. I may end up having to slow it down a little bit because it does take time to do these. But I'm so enjoying it right now. I think I'm going to continue doing it on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, and see where it goes from there. And hopefully you are getting knowledge that you can use today. And today's knowledge is about AI generated content. So you might want to take notes because this is some of the latest information that I've been able to get on the subject. And I'm dealing with what a publishing platform that I use has. They have it right in their guidelines. And so I'm going to be sharing with you what they say. Now, here's the definition that they have. AI generated content is text, images, or translation create by AI based tool. So what that means is that you have taken an AI based tool and created a text, an image, or done a translation from another language into English. So they have certain things that they require of you. And we're going to take a look at that. They expect you to inform them. Now, in my case, if you are a student or you are a client and I'm your publisher, then you inform me and then I inform them. The key here is that they need to be informed, and I'm going to adopt these principles for myself, for my own business, because they're very good, very well thought out. But that doesn't do away with the check and verify that I've talked about previously. You still need to do that. That you will always need to do. But we're looking now at inform the publisher, whether it's AI generated or AI assisted. Now, this is informational primarily. We'll get to that in a minute. This is something they take serious, and they have some specific guidelines there. So AI generated. Now, you have to inform them if it's you're doing a new book, or perhaps you're going to edit an existing book. So, just draw this down a little bit. They want to know who did it. Did you do it using a tool to assist you down here? Or did AI do it themselves or itself? If it did it itself, if it generated this, the edit, for instance, and it generated that, it is AI generated. And that is something they take very, very seriously. And you have to know their guidelines. And by the way, this episode does not substitute for reading their guidelines. Always check the guidelines of the publisher you're going with. If you are using the one I use, I will inform you who that is, and you'll keep me informed. You will have access to it through me anyhow, both indirect and direct. So you will be able to go in and check and for yourself what those guidelines are. There's no blessed are the ignorant here. You need to know. And so, new book, or you are editing an existing book. How about a cover? Well, if it's AI generated, then it's that is something they're interested in and they want to know about it. Again, I've covered this before. They have issues. There's things like copyright, or what they call down there, intellectual property rights. Whatever you call it, it's a legal obligation that you not do. You steal. You don't steal from other authors. You don't steal from other works, and that's just a nice way of saying you're stealing. And when you do a copyright violation, that is theft. And so that is something they want to make sure. If it was AI generated, well, if it was AI generated, what does it belong to somebody else? You're responsible. They're going to hold you responsible. Interior images. You have pictures, images, drawings, artwork inside your book. Was that generated by you, or was that generated by AI? They want to know. It's very, very important. And these are things that the examples that they themselves provide. And again, you have copyright, and you have other, there's limitations and other things that may be in play as well. And so they want to know whether this is something you generated or AI generated. If it's AI generated, you got to be available. I think content. We're going to be talking about the content down here. They want to know and want you to adhere to their guidelines. So these guidelines exist whether or not you use AI. They've always had guidelines. And it's easy just to sit down and start writing and say, oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm going to be within their guidelines. Well, you might be surprised. And so it's good to adhere to to learn what they are and to adhere to them. When I first got involved in writing and getting them published, did my own publishing, I learned real quick that as I'm going through the process, when I have the program I was using check out my book, they would point out errors. Now, some of these errors are margins and things of this nature, but some of them could very easily be content itself. And so they have their own ways of looking for that. And so I would advise you know what their content guidelines are pertaining to anything, and that includes pornography. Now, I don't do pornography, and so if that's what you're doing, then you won't want to go with me. I won't allow it. Other things of that nature. But the publishing platform may have a different standard than I have, and so things that I wouldn't go for, they might allow. And so you go with them, for instance, you might is the key word here, slip something by them. But it's not likely. They have their own tools, automated tools, that will check your work and look for any keywords or images, anything like that nature, that would violate their guidelines. Now I'm going to take a little drink here because I'm starting to get a dry throat. That's better. So, is it AI generated? They're going to be very thorough. I'm going to be very thorough when I look at that. That is something that you need to spend time on, to be aware of. You are the one who is responsible for your content. Now, as your publisher, I'm assuming certain responsibilities as well. But in the end, you are the one responsible for your work. Now, AI assisted. We have AI generated. Now we have AI assisted. And this is created content yourself. Now, here's their definition. You used AI to edit, refine, error check, or otherwise your work. So what they're saying is this: your title, the title of your book. Did AI generate that, or did it come up with some ideas that you then selected the best one that you wanted? Selecting the best one you want is the AI assisted, and that's okay. Uh, it's, coming with that, when it says AI assisted, is there's an assumption there that you did your diligence and checked it out to make sure that it wasn't being used by somebody else. Um, there's a number of reasons for making sure that your title is not being used by somebody else. You want people to know about your book. You want to be unique. And so it pays to make your title as unique as you can. With the content, which includes the cover and everything, that content, you are free to use AI, artificial intelligence, to explore ideas, concepts, just anything that will help you write your story. That is perfectly all right. Now, they might want to know that you did that. The platform I use wants to know that you did that. And then they might want to know in what areas that you did it. But they're not really as concerned about that. That's more just the so that they know. And so if somebody does challenge the work and for instance sues them, they will have that in their database and they'll say, no, this and this is what happened. And so they have a defense, and you have a defense. But if it's AI generated, now that's a different story. And so they need to know whether it's assisted or generated. And if it's generated, they need to know some very big details. And even then, they may say, we can't accept that. They're going to be strict about that. And I think that's going to get stricter as time goes forward. I think that it's just growing so fast and so powerful that they have to have not only this in place, but they may have to have tougher guidelines going forward. So, I can't remember. And this includes intellectual property rights. And that, by the way, is another way of talking about copyright issues, other legal issues. This kind of covers the whole thing. The word intellectual is important there. They want you to lay out for them exactly what you're doing. Now, if you don't use AI at all in any of this, not intentionally, then you don't have to answer either one of those. You just say, if they say, have you used it? And you just say no if they give you that option. But the thing is, for instance, I might use Grammarly or a tool like that. I have WordPress. I do use WordPress, but I also use Microsoft Word, and that is a tool, and it will examine. It will go through and help me edit the book and things of this nature. Grammarly does the same thing. There's other tools out there that you can use, and they might come under AI assisted, but that's not something they're really super involved with or care about. So the guidelines here is going to be very, very light compared to up here. So you may not even have to tell them about Grammarly or Microsoft Word or anything of this nature. So far up to now, and when I've ever done a book, I haven't even had to. I've just been able to pass over this because I don't use AI. Anything that's identified as AI. That may change as time goes forward. Again, like I said, I probably will say this again and again. going forward into the future, you're going to see stricter guidelines, both on the AI generated and the AI assisted, because it's just going to be so much more difficult to get a real grasp of AI, of how fast it is growing. It's just it could take you a good portion of any day, and the next day you have to get up and maybe you have to go through and do it again because it's changing so fast. What I have right here, this is the latest, but will it be the latest in another day, another week, whatever? I have to keep up with it. I will have to track it. And so that is something that I, as a publisher, as well as an author, need to keep an eye on. It behooves me to do it because I am an author, but also because I am going to publish books, other people's, maybe your book. And so I need to know what the guidelines are. And I need to adopt those same guidelines for myself. Because, as I mentioned in a previous episode, check and verify is a very basic thing, and it will help out, but it's not the final answer. It's a short-term answer, but there's a long-term need, which the platforms, various platforms out there, they are doing the research. They're finding, and they got teams of lawyers, I'm sure, working on them, the correct definitions, the correct applications, and so forth. And then we need to read them and stay informed. It's expected of us. And you could say it's demanded of us. So, is your book AI generated? Make sure about that. If it is, it needs to be reported. And don't think this is an all-encompassing thing here. This is just what I picked up from reading their material, and they're just using them as examples, not as an all-encompassing rule. So they will have other examples, I'm sure, as time goes forward. But this kind of covers that. You have the cover, the interior images, the artwork, and you have the content itself. I don't even have that up here, content, but we've been talking about content up here, text. So that is something that you have to take into consideration. Don't take shortcuts. AI assisted, that is something they have no problem with as long as it's assisted. And they may ask you some questions along the way there. So the thing is that you want to know and take appropriate action. And so not only when you're filling out, if you're going with me and you have used AI to do any of this stuff, then you check that box. And they may have other questions for you to answer. And so take it seriously, folks. This is something that we are going to be living with for a long, long time. And you don't want to mess it up. Well, that's today's episode. I hope this has been informative to you. You might want to review it a few times. I've tried to be go as deep as I can in the limited time that I have. And like I said, I'm sure there's going to be additional episodes on this. I know in writing the course, I'm going to have to update that chapter over and over and over again. That's okay. I can do that. You have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode.